In today's video, I'm partnering with Assembly to walk you through a full photography client portal build. This year, I had my first ever brand photo shoot. This is something I had been nervous about and put off for years. And then I decided, no, we're getting it done. This is the year. And I have to say, she was incredible. But here's the thing. As business owners, we never really do shut our business brain off. And the whole time, I just kept on thinking, how cool would this experience have been inside a client portal? That curiosity got the best of me, so I went ahead and partnered with Assembly to bring you this video where I'm walking you through a full photography client portal build. Let me show you what it looks like. This is Penelope. Penelope is getting married this year and is currently looking for a wedding photographer. Scrolling on Instagram, she found our page and has just clicked the link in our bio where she can sign up to access our portal and all of our details. Once she signs up, she'll be automatically added in to our client portal. She'll land on our welcome page where we can welcome her into a portal and show her how it works. She can see that she has one message notification, a welcome message from us, and she can also see that there is a form attached. When she clicks on form, she'll see her intake questionnaire. She can click in to respond, fill in the key details. Once she's filled that in, she can submit. I will then get that notification to see that Penelope Garcia has completed her form. I can then go into her file in our CRM and tag her as a custom client. I can then follow up with Penelope, making sure she's really clear about the next step we want her to take. And as soon as that message has been sent, it will appear in Penelope's client portal. She will also receive that through email. So then she can see her next step, go into call links, click on discovery call, and from here, she'll be able to book a call. Now, while that was all happening, we also had James who signed up through our client portal. He also received our message. He scrolled through our services guide, filled in his form, and decided he wants a brand photo shoot. So he went straight to the Timeframe store, clicked on the session he wanted to purchase, went ahead and paid for that. On the back end, that automatically tagged him as a store client. And if we come back into James's portal, you'll see a new link has appeared, allowing him to click in and book his session. So completely different links based on client type. And as you can see, he has everything in one place, easily accessible, including his previous brand photo shoots. So let me quickly explain how Assembly is structured. In your sidebar, you'll start with your dashboard, your CRM, notifications, and automations. That's the internal side, what you see as a business owner. You can configure what the client sees in their sidebar based on what Assembly calls apps. You can add or remove apps from your apps library. To add an app, click on Apps Library, Add App. Now you'll see here there are a number of pre-built apps from Assembly, and these are the ones that most of us need as service providers. But if we scroll down, there is also the option to integrate some of your most commonly used apps. To install any of the recommended apps, just click Install in the top right corner. We can give our app a name, an icon, and then if we come down to client-facing app visibility, this is where you control which clients see which apps in their sidebar, allowing you to create a truly custom experience for each individual client. So if we click on Edit right now, it is set to Visible to all clients. I can hide this from all clients, or I can say Visible to some clients, and I can base this on set criteria that I've pre-configured. For this app, I'm going to set it as visible to all clients and click Save. But as we go through the build, you'll see all the ways that I've adjusted visibility based on client type. This is how we've created two different client experiences, as shown in the beginning of this video. For now, I'm going to click Add, and you'll see that now appears in my app section. If I click on Client Home, here you'll see that I can adjust this page to my preferences. Each app works in a very similar way. I'll walk you through how I adjusted this as we go through the build. Coming back into my dashboard, one of the first steps I took was to come down to Settings in the bottom left corner. I then adjusted all of the key information. I toggled off companies because typically I'd be working with individuals. And then under individual term, I kept this as client. And then under self-serve sign up, I made sure that client direct sign up was toggled on. Now, what that means is I can copy this link and share it anywhere, and any lead will be able to sign up and be directly added to the CRM in my client portal. Coming back out, the next thing I did was to locate customization under preferences. And here I was able to change my brand name, add some image assets, and you can see what that looks like on the right. And then brand colors as well, preferred font, and then your metadata. Now your portal can look and feel like your business. Now, if we come into our CRM, this is where all of our leads and clients are stored. And you see that we can add key information about them. If I just click into one, we will access all of their information in one place. If I click over on the right to client details, you'll also notice that I've set up these custom fields. Now, not only does this help me collect additional information, but it means that I can adjust what each lead or client sees based on their tag. So to set that up, you just click on the plus icon. You'll see you have a number of options here. For both stage and type, I've used tag properties and I've just adjusted it as so. So client type is one I used a lot here, and I just tagged it as a store client or a custom client. So if a lead is interested in buying one of my Productize services, such as portraits, family, a brand shoot, they're tagged with store client because they can purchase directly through the store. For weddings or events, these are bespoke, so these are tagged as custom client. And you can get more granular with this. I've just grouped it into 2 categories based on what I want those 2 different types of clients to see. I'll show you exactly how that works as we go through. Now, if you come over to the app section, you'll see all the different apps I've added for my leads and my clients. So if I click on client home right now, this is visible to everyone. We set that up together. But I have gone ahead and customized this. So over on the right, you'll see all of the different ways that you can customize this. You can add a banner if you want. This action section refers to the actions on the top of the page. So this is going to give any lead or client looking at this an overview of actions they need to complete. And you'll see that I toggled off tasks because I didn't use that in my portal. We also have dynamic fields that you can input into any section of the page. So we have good morning, and then it shows the client's first name. So regardless of who is looking at this, it's going to be accurate and customized to them. And you'll see that we've added these in throughout the home page. Now, the way you change the content on the page is you can just highlight it and delete anything you don't want, or click in and use your slash command to bring up your different content blocks. So you can really make it your own. For me, I've got the good morning, the actions, a little welcome message explaining what the portal is, and then how it works here. Now, another really cool thing, if we come over to customization, is you'll see the option to create different segments. And you can adjust what is shown to different segments that you have created. To do that, you just click on segment by. I've done client type, create segment, and you'll see here that I'm segmenting it by custom clients and store clients. Then I can come up to the top here and I can adjust the segment, and then I could change what is shown on the page. So for custom clients, I took out the store section because that is no longer needed. Now, when a client first signs in, I want them to automatically receive a welcome message. And that was something I set up within the Messages app. So if we come to App Library and we click on Messages, we'll click on the 3 dots, Edit App. You'll see if I scroll down, I can send an automatic welcome message. And so I've just inputted that information here. The sender is set to me. And if I go to Client App Facing Visibility, it is set to be visible to all users. So now we have someone new in our CRM. And if I go to messages, you'll see that that has automatically sent Mr. James Taylor a welcome message. Now, their client type isn't tagged yet. And that's because they're a new lead and I don't know exactly what they want. To know that information, I would have to send them an intake form. So if we head over to forms, you'll see I have an intake form here. If I ever need to send this to someone, I just click on the three dots, share form, and I can either copy the link and send it or click in and choose if I want to send the form manually. Now to create any of these forms, you just click on create form at the top, give your form a name, give it a description if you want, and then under form visibility, you can choose if you want all clients to see the form or if you only want to see the form when you send it to them. I picked this one because I wanted to show you a neat automation that you can create in Assembly. More on that later. For now, we're going to click the plus button to add our various questions. And as simple as clicking on it, choosing if it's required, asking the question, maybe giving a description, click the plus to add another one. You can preview the form and then you can hit create. If we click into my intake form, you can see responses, who we're waiting for, and then you can edit the form as well. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to use an automation to send this to the client. So if we go to automations, you can see that this is set up here, assign a form when a client is created. So to set this up, what I did was create a workflow. Started from scratch, and you can see that we have all these various triggers. So I used when a client is created, and you could specify the different client creation method. So I could say when they sign up themselves, then I want to assign a form and we'll do intake questionnaire and then I hit publish. What this means is when a lead directly signs up into our portal, when they log in, they're automatically going to see the home tab in their sidebar. They're going to receive a welcome messages in their messages section, and they're going to be assigned an intake form so we can collect the information we need to take the next steps. Now, thinking specifically about leads, I also want to give them an overview of my services and pricing. So another thing I did was embedded this pricing and services guide created in Canva. So the way that I was able to add this from Canva is I went to my apps library, I added an app, and if you scroll down, Canva is here. It's going to give you the instructions in case you forget. But the way that you add it, or really any app, is to click on embeds and links, give it a name, give it an icon, choose if each client sees the same content. So I've set this to automatic, and then you just paste in the public URL or iframe. I've pasted in the design URL and I've set it visible to all clients. And this is just one way we can nurture our leads and encourage them to reach out with any questions they have. Now, I mentioned two types of clients, custom clients and store clients. Store clients is anyone who purchases a Productize services through my store. So to make that possible, I had to set up the store. The way we do that is make sure we have the billing app added. If you look at the top, you'll see you can add invoices, subscriptions, set up your store, create payment links, and add your services. So I started by adding my services. To create a service, click create service, add your name, description, image, and then you can set your pricing information here as well. If you do not have a payout account set up, the way that you would set this up is to come into your settings, go to payout account, and make sure you have your account connected. Now, the next step is to come into store, and I've already configured one. Again, this is a demo account I use for all of these assembly demos. But if you don't have one, yours will just look like create store button, and you would click create store. You will be taken to a place similar to this where you can give your store a name. And you'll see you could turn on different plans, and this is for recurring services, or you could toggle on one-time purchases. So here I've added my portrait session. To add more services, click add service, and you could just start adding them in. I've added my 3 Productize services. And if you don't know what that is, I do have an entire video on it that I'll link below, but think about it as a fixed scope of work with a fixed process for a fixed price. It always stays the same, which means I could just have people purchase it directly and then book their session. And then I've also added one additional photo so that any client can purchase additional photos on top of whatever is included in the session. And the reason I did this is because I purchased a package and it included like 8 photos, and I was like, that's fine. I just want this over and done with. I don't need any more. And then my photographer took loads and loads of photos and she did such a great job. I ended up buying 38 more. 38. She was like, "Are you sure?" Yes, I'm sure. So think about the upsell opportunity there in ways that you can incorporate that into your store. If you sell prints, if you do photo albums, maybe there are additional add-ons that you can include. These can all be added to your store. And then once you've set that up, make sure you have set your payment price preferences and then just click publish in the top right corner. And here you could choose if you want to toggle it on in your portal so people can sign up for those services in your portal. Now you could also turn this on as a public website. And what's cool about this is it sort of replaces the need for a website, which is costly and takes a lot of time and maintenance. If you're building your brand on social media, it might just make more sense to have that website toggled on. Now, it doesn't cover my events and weddings, so I've toggled it off. And again, I'm trying to funnel everyone into the portal. So I've just got this toggled on here. Hit publish, and now that store is set up. Now, if you were sharing your store, you could create a similar automation for when they sign up. So if we go to automations and we click update client when client is created and edit the workflow, you can see I've set one up so that when the client is first created through the product store, again, you can adjust this, update the client as store client. So if I was sharing this website, someone signs up, they automatically purchase a session, they will be added into the client portal automatically, and they will be tagged as a store client. It's going to adjust what they see. Because if we think about the process of what happens next, we want to assign that intake form to everyone, even if they've purchased a session, but then it starts to differentiate. For wedding and event clients, they'll fill out their form, but then we'll need to have a discovery call. That is a short call, and I want to be able to embed that into the portal. For store clients who have purchased an offer, I want them to be able to go ahead and book their session right away. So those are two different call links. Now, if we go to our apps library, we can add an app. I went to embeds and links, called this discovery call. I've pasted in my cal.com link. I've scrolled down, and then under client facing visibility, I've edited this to say visible to some clients, only show if the client type includes custom client. So this is only going to show to anyone interested in events and wedding services. Hit save and you'll see that's embedded. I did the same thing for book your session, except this is a different link that allows them to book their session. It's longer, it's 180 minutes. And then I've done visibility to some clients. Client type is store client. Now, this is just a basic overview. You could get a lot more granular. So every store item could have a different length of time. You might want to tag all of the individual products. I've also created a folder here, and that helps me organize my various different links so that it's not cluttering up my sidebar. Now for weddings and events, I also need contracts. So let's go ahead and take a look at the contracts app that I've added. The way you add a new contract is just by clicking in, you upload a PDF, make sure there's space for the name, the signature, any key inputs you need. Give it a name, set if it's reusable, and then if I come into the one I've already created, you can then edit the template. So you'll see here that I've got a lot of spaces to add in key information. And so I can come over to my inputs and I could add my name in here, and I can also add text for my business name, and I can pre-populate this. And then for the client's name, I can come over to advanced and I can pull from these autofill fields. So let's say client full name, and I can pull this over here and drag it into the space. I could do the same with email. And then if I was tracking their phone number, I would add that as a second custom field, add it in. And then for things like the event date, that is going to be the client's input. They're going to have to add that. So we will add a date property under client inputs, add that in there, add a text property that they can input for wedding venue or event venue. And you would add in all of that key information, including the signature information, hit save. You will see that update, and then again to send this to any client, click share and select clients, or head on over to automations again, create a workflow, and we can say when a client is updated, so the client type is custom client, we want to go ahead and assign a contract, and we'll do wedding photography contract. And again, you could get more granular with this step, so the value might not be custom client, it would be specifically wedding client. Now, we touched on messages, but as you can see, every client is going to get their own message thread that is an ongoing conversation where you can interact back and forth. Over here on the right, you can add client details, you could take internal notes, and you can also chat to Assembly AI or your internal team members about this client. And then coming back to billing, there's two ways that you can invoice your clients. Either a one-off invoice, in which case you create the invoice, add the recipient, choose the item, or add a new line item. So it might be James Taylor wedding, add the price and then save, set the payment, and then again, you can charge the client. Now, the other way to do that is to go to subscriptions, create a subscription, and it's the same process except there's a billing schedule. So you can set up a billing schedule, the start date and the end date, and you can automatically charge the client, or you can notify the client when they have to pay manually. So two different approaches depending on how you charge your clients. Now, when it comes to files, each client gets their own file channel. Again, I set that up in visibility, and I add a new folder for the review shoot. They can go in, they can select which photos they'd like to keep. We can discuss that in messages, and then their finals are here too. And what's nice about this is that they're able to easily download anytime. They can go back and request more. And when it comes time for their next session, they can always go and look back at their past sessions as well. Now, let's say that you used a preferred online gallery and you want to be able to share your photos that way. You can always link to it again using files by clicking new, add a link, call it review photos. You can give it a date as well, and then paste in your link there, hit save. Or you can skip the Files app completely. And what you can do is again go to your app library, add an app, go to your embeds and links. Now, this would be for a specific individual. So we'll call this James Taylor's brand shoe. Again, give it an icon. And here I'm using Zenfolio. You can use anyone you like. Here we've got just a sample gallery that I'm going to use to show you how this works. You would then copy the link. Make sure you have Connect as an embed on, and then if I paste that in, you will see that that gallery embeds directly into the portal. And of course, for client-facing visibility, we don't want to share this with everyone, so I would click Edit and say Visible to some clients and say Show if client is James Taylor. Hit Save and Add. And now we've got James Taylor's brand shoot. And this is a really great example where you would add a folder and you could say 2026 photo shoots, and we'll just pull James into there. So again, it's nice and neat, especially if you're using that for all of your clients. Hit save at the top. Perfect. And similarly, if you were using an external gallery that also has billing attached, you can always come into billing, edit app, and you can disable the app if it is not needed. The great thing about Assembly is it's fully customizable to you, your needs, and your tool stack. Now, the final thing I want to show you is this FAQ section that I've added. And this is just to answer any questions that leads or clients might have. Again, visibility is set to all because this is part of overcoming objections. Now, this is using the Help Desk app that is provided by Assembly. It's as simple as clicking on create an article. You can use your / command to bring up your content blocks. You can add titles, and you can also tag different articles. So if I leave this page now, you'll see I've got different questions and answers here that people can click into. They're also able to quickly see who this applies to. The great thing about having a help desk or an FAQ section in your portal is that leads and clients get instant access to support, and you don't have to spend your time answering the same questions over and over. So there we have it, a photography client portal that is going to give your clients a unique experience. This was a whole lot of fun to build. I would definitely enjoy this as a client, but I also know that bringing your expertise to the table, this could be even better. All of it is fully customizable. If you wanted to add your portfolio in here, you absolutely can. If you wanted to create your online galleries, as I mentioned, you can embed those in here. Maybe you want different service guides for different client types. It's all possible using the client app visibility section. Maybe you even want to sell your own prints through your store. This would be a great way to upsell and introduce a new revenue stream. The real benefit is you get to manage all of your clients from one single dashboard, and your clients only have to log into one tool to get a fully custom experience. It's easy to manage and it makes it easier to scale. If you want a more in-depth breakdown of how Assembly works and how you can put together your client portal, regardless of your industry, I'll include all my Assembly tutorials in the description. If you thought this was helpful, I would super appreciate a like and subscribe. And above all else, I would love to hear from you, especially if you're a photographer. Is this something that you can see incorporating into your own business? And if you're not a photographer, but you would like me to cover your industry next in one of these client portal builds, let me know in the comments section. The interactions that we get to have there is my favorite part of putting these videos together. Thank you again to Assembly for sponsoring today's video. And until next time, have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world.